Hey guys, in this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to knit up this chevron striped blanket. I'm actually using the pattern from the label on this Caron Big Cakes yarn. This is a sort of self-striping yarn that comes in different sort of color shades. This one here you can see is a blue-gray shade, and the shade or name of the shade is Blue Macaron or Macaron. Anyway, it's a really easy pattern to knit. The pattern is actually printed on the inside of the label here, and so if you buy this skein of yarn, you'll get the pattern right there. If not, I've provided a link online to the pattern, and I've changed it up just a little bit for this blanket that I'm knitting, just because I didn't want to knit one that was as big as this pattern calls for. And so I will show you my variation, which is very, very simple. I'm just kind of scrunched it up. Now you'll notice that the blanket itself has a garter stitch border on either end, and the pattern that's on the label also has a garter stitch border on either side, which I didn't want. So that's what I've done, and I've just eliminated that border and instead just put a slip stitch border on either side. So let me show you how it's done. But before I do that, just a quick note, the pattern, if you use this particular skein of yarn and go with the pattern that's on the label or on the website link that I've provided down below, it'll require 3 balls of these 300 gram or 10.5 ounce balls. So I am nearing the end of my first ball, so clearly I haven't finished this blanket yet. It'll still take me a while, but I thought I'll go ahead and I'll show you how to do it, because it's really simple. So if you're looking for a simple project, the pattern itself is just a 2-row repeat after you've done the border, and it's really simple because one of those rows is just a purl all the way across. So easy sort of TV knitting type project. So I'm at the end of one skein. Once this is done, then I'll join the next skein, and I've provided links down below to how to join yarn if you're not familiar with that, if you've done only one skein projects, or also if you want a refresher on the cast on and the initial edge, because I'm not going to show that in this tutorial. So what I've done is I've actually cast on 178 stitches. So what I've worked it out to be is that for my pattern, the one I'm showing you, for my variation rather, it's a multiple of 16 stitches plus 18. So if you want to make a smaller project, let's say you don't want a big blanket, you just want to make like a sort of wide scarf, you can do a multiple of 16 stitches. So you could do 32 stitches and then add 18 stitches to that. So that would make it about 50 stitches. So you could do a scarf with 50 stitches, and then you'll just have a couple of these repeats of the pattern. Now, the reason why this pattern, well, it's called a chevron pattern because it gives you these nice little V's. And the reason why it does that is because in each of these columns, you're alternately decreasing stitches and then you're increasing stitches. So each time you decrease, you kind of get that V going this way, and then each time you increase, you get that V sort of flaring out. And so this is why you kind of get this beautiful pattern. And because I'm using the variegated sort of self-striping yarn, I'm also getting these nice stripes, and then you also get this nice little V shape at the border. So I think it looks really pretty, and the fabric is lays pretty flat on the back side. It's just a garter or just the purl stitch that you do on the back side. So the back side looks this way, and then this here is the front side. So I'm not showing you the initial rows. So I cast on the stitches using the long tail cast on. I did about 5 rows of the garter stitch border, and then I started the pattern that I'm going to show you. I've provided a link for the long tail cast on as well as the knit stitch if you need a refresher for that. It doesn't have to be a long tail cast on. You could do any style of cast on that you want. Now, the pattern on the label will call for size 9 needles, size 9 circular needles, 36 inches long, which is what I'm using here. If you choose to use needles that are longer than 36 inches, I think that's okay, because this is not a circular pattern. You're not joining in the round, you're just going to knit back and forth. But anything less than 36 stitches for a total of 178 stitches or more might be a little short or a little small. So I think 36 inches is a good length to have for the circular needle. So for my variation, what I've done is I've cast on 178 stitches, and the very first stitch I'm just doing a slip stitch. So I'm just inserting the needle as if to knit, or as if to purl rather, and I'm just slipping it over. Okay, the yarn is like this in the back. All right, so then the very next stitch is a knit front back, and for that you insert as if to knit, yarn around, knit, but then don't drop the stitch on the left needle. Instead, take that right needle, reinsert it into the back loop of that same stitch, knit it again, and then drop the stitch. Okay, let's see that one more time. I'm going to take this off, put my stitch back on, and so knit front back, or KFB. Insert as if to knit, knit, don't drop the stitch, take the right needle, reinsert it into the back loop of that same stitch on the left needle, and knit it one more time, and then drop the stitch off. So now you see we've increased a stitch. We've made 2 stitches out of 1 stitch. So you knit front back, then you knit the next 5 stitches. Okay, and now we come to the column where we do the decreases. So to do the decreases, the first decrease you do is an SSK, or slip slip knit. And what that means is you're going to slip 2 stitches knitwise, and then you're going to knit them together from the right needle. So this is how you do it. Insert as if to knit, not purl, as if to knit, and just bring the stitch over. So you've just slipped the stitch knitwise. Do it one more time. Insert, bring the stitch over. Now take your left needle and insert it into these front loops of both stitches on the right needle. Okay, and then you take your yarn and knit as if just regular knit. Okay, and drop both stitches off. So you've just done a slip slip knit. In doing a slip slip knit, you'll see that you get a decrease, and the decrease is slanted to the left. Okay, you'll see this little line that kind of goes towards the left. And then your next decrease is a knit 2 together. So that's simple enough. You just insert your right needle into both front loops of both stitches and just knit them together, and then drop both stitches off. So you've just made 1 stitch out of the 2 stitches. So we've taken a total of 4 stitches here and dropped them down to 2. And you'll notice that when you do a knit 2 together, you get a decrease that's slanting to the right. So this is why a slip slip knit and a knit 2 together will kind of give you that nice little V shape. Then again, we knit the next 5 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now we come to the point where we're going to do the increases. So to do the increases, we're going to do a knit front back and a knit front back. So we're going to do knit front back twice. We've already seen how to do that. Insert, knit, knit again through the back loop. That's your KFB 1 time. We'll do the KFB again into the next stitch. So again, knit, and then knit through the back loop. And so we've just taken 2 stitches and made 4 stitches out of those 2 stitches. So here we've decreased 4 down to 2. Here we've increased 2 up to 4. And then you knit the next 5 stitches. And so you're just going to keep doing this all the way through. This is your pattern repeat. Slip, slip, knit, knit 2 together, knit 5. Then knit front back, knit front back, knit 5. And you keep doing that all the way till you get to the last. If you're following this variation of mine, if you're following the pattern on the label, that pattern will tell you exactly what to do. But if you're following my variation, then you'll essentially do that till you get to the last. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. To the last 11 stitches or so. After you've done the last repeat, then you'll do again a slip slip knit, a knit 2 together, you'll knit 5 stitches, then you'll do a knit front back, and then knit the last stitch. Okay, so that's the first row. For the second row, once you've got to that end, you'll turn your work and you'll start on the second row. The second row is pretty much purl all the way through, except for the first stitch. You're going to slip it. So just like we did in row 1, you're just going to insert your needle as if to purl and just bring it over to the right needle without doing anything to that stitch. So that's all it is. One row is the pattern, the next row is all purl, and you just keep repeating these 2 rows, and you'll find that you'll have yourself a wonderful, nice, warm blanket. If you have any questions or comments, please leave me a comment in the comment box. And again, the link to the actual pattern on the label or the full pattern is in the description field. And if you like my video, please click the like button. It's very encouraging to see you guys watching my videos, and I'm hoping you'll subscribe to my channel so you can stay in touch and know about all videos, upcoming videos. And thanks for watching. As always, happy knitting.